What does it take to recover from Jiu-Jitsu? Hey guys, so I've got with me here my handy dandy, I don't want to call it a foam roller because it ain't made of foam. This thing is a straight up PVC pipe. Shout out to Chris Courtwright over at Misfit Strength with his Graston work and the stuff that he's been recommending for me in terms of the exercises to do my appropriate amount of recovery. 4-inch PVC pipe, and I just took some black tape, not really black tape, like the athletic tape, I guess. I had some extra laying around, and so I just kind of wrapped it around here to give it a little bit of the friction, so to speak. Because if I put it on a regular surface, it would kind of slip and slide, and I would slip and slide on it. So one of the things that I would recommend here is because one of the things is this, right? Before I started jiu-jitsu training, one of the things was that over the last couple of years, I spent a lot of time, just developing my leg strength, right? In terms of, squats, deadlifts, and also trying to up my pull-ups. Now, granted, I've developed a good amount of, in terms of hitting my strength standards and whatnot. But one of the things about jiu-jitsu is that there's so much grip work and a lot of this, right? In terms of movement ability. And so as a result, let me just pull over to the mirror here, so this way you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So as a result, this entire area kind of gets tight, and these trap muscles, they go all the way down, right, to this section over here. But couple that with the fact that these lats over here, because I'm doing a lot of that pulling, right, especially with the grips and just trying to keep my elbows in and chamber and all that, this whole area gets really tight and really sore. So the question then comes into play is, how do I massage that out? So traditionally, when it came to, if you go to the gym, you'll find a foam roller, right? Looks something like this, but it's made of foam. It's nice and soft. It doesn't hurt. But the reality is when you go to a sports therapist, a massage therapist, the harder the surface, the deeper that you can get into it. And if you could get to a foam roller and it doesn't do it for you anymore, which was the case for me, and so I actually just stuck to a lacrosse ball. And just one of the things that is part of my regular kit that I keep with me, especially when I'm on my travels, because right now I'm here in Dallas for work, but as you can see, all the lights and stuff are set up over there. But I have a peanut, which is basically 2 lacrosse balls and a regular lacrosse ball. And if ever something is a little bit tender and I want to work it out a little bit more softly, get a couple of squash balls. Again, I got a peanut for that and a regular squash ball. But when it comes to the big areas like the lats, the quads, the hamstrings, right? In order to be able to do that, you need a bigger item. And so this is one of the things that I hadn't felt it until I got down on this. So the idea here is obviously you could do it in your upper back, right? Lower back. Whew. And I definitely feel it in my lower back, especially after a 6-hour drive, because stuff kind of gets in there. But the other thing is when you get down, right there, Mr. Courtwright, this stuff is gnarly. Just like that. Get right in there in the meat, and when you find that tight spot, you just kind of roll inside to side. This is one of the most important things that I have learned I'm on my 3rd month of jiu-jitsu training. Without this, without recovery, without focus on, essentially, if I were to put a quantifiable number on it, for every hour of jiu-jitsu training, putting in about 2 hours of recovery time. And that recovery time is inclusive of massaging, interactive recovery, massaging, sitting in the sauna, working on mobility, shoulder movement, range of motion, things like that, and stretching as well. And making sure Because a lot of times what happens is you might not realize it. Granted, there's a lot more upper body work in jiu-jitsu because it's a lot of ground game, but you still use a lot of hip work. And so in order to be able to work on the hips, one of the things that you can do is get this over here, right on the hip, just like that. Get that knee up, bam, and just like that, that's gonna be a little gnarly. And you just kind of work your way through and make sure you massage that out. And it's also a good hip mobility stretch. Just like that, it's always a good idea to spend a little bit of time. And as the prescription always goes, it takes about 2 minutes and any kind of physiological change to kind of take effect. Whether that's a mental change, just putting yourself into a superhero position, or it's a mobility movement like I'm doing here, give yourself 2 minutes to see those physiological effects take place. I'm going to go ahead and finish up. That's just my little tidbit on recovery for jiu-jitsu. But I think it's more in the context of doing jiu-jitsu while also spending a lot of time outside of jiu-jitsu in a sedentary state. Which, as you can see, look, I'm already breaking out into a sweat. I don't even do anything. It's just like all of that tension is now being released. Whew. But like, you know, working at a desk, doing a lot of computer work and things like that, it's going to relieve a lot of stuff. Anyway, that's my little learning here. I got to do a video. Once I complete my 3 months of training, I'm thinking maybe 3 months or a total of 32 or 36 classes of jiu-jitsu. Once I complete that, I'm going to do like 5 things I've learned for that every person starting jiu-jitsu should know. One of them is recovery, spending time in recovery. For every hour you spend in training class, you commit yourself to 2 hours of recovery mobility time. And if that means that you train a little bit less, so that you can train more, ultimately that's going to happen. Because let's say you train twice a week. Because right now I train, so I do 2 days a week at Gracie Baja, and I do another 2 days a week in addition to that at a local area where we do some grappling and karate. And so shout out to Samurai Dojo Sensei Ihab. So I'm doing both. And so, or Shihan Ihab actually, Kiyoshi Ihab, that's actually his real rank from Gujo-ryo karate. But anyway, so essentially I'm getting 4 days of training per week. So essentially in addition to that, I take as much time and energy. I mean, for me, it's like I got a 6-hour drive to Dallas. So on that entire drive, I'm just like, this is the other thing I got right here, little hook thing while I'm driving. Grab that in there. Also after class, one of the things I like to do is just sit down with the wife, watch some TV or whatever, an hour, maybe 2 hours. While I'm sitting there, I'm just kind of digging right in, massaging everything out. And so if I train an hour at class, I'll do 2 hours on my back and my hips, and that'll be it. So that's it, guys. That's my tip for you guys. That's my tip for you. Hope you guys enjoy, and happy training.